What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to talk to another real member of the Flip Your Life community so we can help them start, build, and grow a membership site of their own. Really excited today to talk to our good friend, Jason Tremere. Jason, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you today because I was reading through some of your questionnaire answers and we have some commonalities. So I also used to be a programmer at one time, and you said that your 10-year-old son wants to be a famous gaming YouTuber.
Which is exactly what Isaac wants to be, our 11-year-old son. And it's funny because Jocelyn and I, we used to date in college. When I met Jocelyn, she was like, you all know she's a hustler. You all know it. You know, she's out there hustling, right? Like she had 2 jobs. Was it Toys R Us or the gym?
So
when you were still working in the computer.
Actually, I had 2 jobs all throughout college. So I used to work at Toys R Us and the chemistry and physics computer lab at the University of Kentucky.
She was tech support. So I would go and I would sit beside her at a computer while she was at work. And that was kind of like, we didn't have time to date. So I would just go wander around Toys R Us to talk to her, and then we would go to the computer lab and hang out. So
this was back a long time ago when people still carried around like little disc, you know.
Yeah, you had to stick a floppy, like a 3.5-inch floppy disk in to check your email on the school computer. And
that's how it was for me too. We had the floppy disks. That's how I go back the same. Yeah.
Sure it goes. But that's how our love blossomed, in the chemistry and physics computer lab.
Never mind that I didn't take any chemistry or physics classes.
Just there. We were there in the computer lab. So, all right. Enough about us, Jason. Enough about us. Tell us a little bit about you and your background and kind of how you got here today.
Well, it's funny because my background is computer science. So I took like a 4-year program, but it had work components. So it was actually a 5-year program for me. So I went into the computer science field as a programmer. I did systems analysis. I even got to the point where I was an IT auditor. So I was on the other side of the fence auditing systems. But for the last 20 years or so, as a hobby, I did investing. So while I was at this corporation, I ran 2 investment clubs with like maybe a dozen people on each one. And we would meet biweekly in a meeting room, and I'd show them what I look for in a stock and how I do analysis. And we'd all kind of do like a group learning activity. And we would actually put money in the market, and we would watch it bi-weekly. I would send out emails, and in the last investment club, even our CEO was in it, and he'd pop in and give us an idea that his investment advisor gave him. And then sometimes he would print out my charts and say, I showed this to my investment advisor and say, hey, how come you can't find me stuff like this? Because we had one that had like a 70% run, and he's like, you can't find me. How come this guy can find them? So it's just really been a hobby for me. Even though my background is computer science, there's a lot of technicalities in the way I do stock analysis, like
analytics and stuff like that.
Exactly,
yes.
analytics.
And I'm not going to lie, Jason. This sounds like an awesome club. Like, I want to be a part of this.
Maybe you need to be into it. Jocelyn, you need to go into an investing thing. You need to get some investing.
I would love looking at some charts and graphs.
You need to get some spreadsheets going over here and figure us out some investments.
And that's the thing. So what I found out is the more I learned about technical analysis, a lot of people in the science environment, so you'll see engineers that go towards it, because it takes the emotion out of investing. Like, people can say, hey, buy cruise ships by Hertz. I'm like, no, the charts say people are dumping it. And that's the thing, like the chart will show you what the institution money is doing, because you'll see the volume, you see the trend. So it's pure analysis to me. So I don't even like read the financials, because the people that do read the financials will dump millions of dollars into the market, and I can see their activity. And I can see it over time.
I'll just watch the magician's hands, and then I'll figure out the trick. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's a little bit like card counting in a casino. Like, you can't say what the next hand's going to be, but
you can guess really well.
You can guess really well. And so what I do, and you're a football coach, so my analogy would be, if you saw a player and you looked at his performance for a month, and then you looked at his performance for 3 months, and then you looked at it for 6 months, and then you looked at it for the year, do you think you know for the next month what's going to happen with that player?
Oh, yeah. I was so dated. It was so funny when I would break down film. Like, I was really data. Like, I'm not really a data guy. I'm definitely a go with my gut kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
Ready, you're the shoot, aim kind of guy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm gonna take action. Let's do it. But when it came to football, I did not mess around, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, Jocelyn can tell you, like, we
took our nerd skills to the next level.
Yes.
Shane learned how to use Excel. Like,
I was using Excel and pivot tables and like all these things.
Right.
And like, I didn't trust any of the other systems. And there was a point where I even was like, I was hand ticking every single play. And I would come then at the end, like, I would do this for like 3 or 4 days, and then I would break down all of the data. And I would have 4 plays on my call sheet, and I would have the percentage chance of like, of the last 3 years, if they ran on that down, which way did they go? How did they do it? Like, and it was like, I just took all the emotion out of my play calling, in the games. I just used the data, and I was like, all right, 62%, I'll roll the dice. Right.
So that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm actually using Excel to do it. I pull data from different feeds and I do my own analysis. I'm using Microsoft Power BI, but I find Excel is just easier to work with because.
Sure. Now you're not in the United States, right? Where are you at?
No, I'm in Eastern Canada. So I'm in New Brunswick, just up the road from Maine there.
Gotcha.
So I'm on the East Coast.
Now, forgive my ignorance here. I keep up with the American stock market stuff, but like, is there Canadian exchanges?
Yes.
Too?
So you mentioned Toronto earlier. There's a Toronto Stock Exchange, and then there's smaller exchanges outside of that. There's the Toronto Venture, and I assume
you invest in multiple exchanges.
I do, and I do a lot of U.S. investing because you guys have 10 times the population. You guys got the Apples, the Googles. We have to. So the first time I ever doubled my money using exchange traded funds, it was totally in the U.S. market. So I converted all of my money to U.S. dollars, and I only traded U.S. exchange traded funds. And I doubled my money in about 16 months or so. It was just over a year.
So now, you've learned all this stuff. You have your investing clubs, which I'm so going to join. And so you decided, okay, well, if I can teach people this information in person, I can probably teach them this information online.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. So what do you have online? What's the appeal of going online with this? So you've got the club. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming you're making money in the stock market, and you could probably charge people in person to do this. Maybe, I don't know, but like what is the appeal to bringing this into like an online business? You know what I mean?
Well, the appeal for me is I'm not currently running a club. I'm just doing it for myself. So like yesterday, I did the stats just so that I would have something to show. But yesterday I made $4,000 in the market, and I wasn't day trading. I didn't execute any trades yesterday. They were based on investments I had made in the last few weeks. So I had one that's up 15%. I had one that's up 5%. And I had one that was up 3% just yesterday alone. And that was on a day. I had 3 greens on a day when the U.S. market was down, the Dow Jones was down, and the Toronto Stock Exchange was down. So there's 3 reds on the indices, but I had 3 greens in my portfolio.
Nice.
So I would venture to guess that you have had a lot of buying activity since the market has been low recently.
Yes. Yeah. So I did get out as it started to crash. I had a lot of profits that I wanted to lock in. So I had some stocks that were at like 60% profit. And I noticed the market was going squirrely in February. So I actually went 100% into cash. And then I stood on the sidelines while it free falled for most of March. And then I was kind of antsy to figure out where the bottom was. So I didn't actually get in at the very bottom. But then I started noticing that gold and things like that were more stable. So I started going into gold. And then my gold ETF went up about 20%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I basically follow the money flow. So when the money flows out of equities and goes into gold, I go into gold. And, these trends can last for a month. They could last multi-months. I'm not in and out every day for sure. So when I go on Facebook groups, there's people in and out every day, and I don't have the patience for that. It's too stressful to watch it on that level. So I try to look for the macro trends and stay in them.
So what you're trying to do then is basically this, and I'm just going to guess what you think your online membership would look like, right? Like it's kind of like a paid virtual version of your investment club, right? Like people come in, and it's people like me and Jocelyn, people who are making money. We've got money. Like I'm scared of the stock market a little bit. Like I got my retirement account,
mutual funds,
and I let somebody do it for me, and it's kind of like, okay, just don't break anything, and I see it going up really slow over time, and
so
all that.
As long as it's going up, we're
okay, everything's broken. But I don't know. But you're like, this is like, but I have. Like I think that it would be a game I would love to play. Like I love the not I guess gambling is one way to say it, but I do love the data analysis, making good decisions, and like I would love to invest in stocks and stuff like that. So like I'm the kind of target market, right?
Right. But there's probably a few steps before you get to the point where I am. Like if you're still in mutual funds, even just switching to ETFs can get you 2% without taking on any more risk, just because of the overhead that's involved in mutual funds.
Yeah.
So an exchange traded fund is basically like a mutual fund, but it trades like a stock. And instead of a 2% fee, it's like 0.5 or even as low as 0.3 in the US. Like to buy an S&P index, it's like 0.03%.
Yeah.
To buy 500 stocks all in one shot.
Because you're not paying somebody else to manage.
That's right. You're not paying for the marketing. You're not paying for the portfolio management. but it's the same thing, like an S&P 500 ETF. So there's probably like some baby steps that I could take most people from mutual funds to baby step into ETFs and just get comfortable with that, and then into the more active approach that I like to do. So like an S&P 500, you can get the average is 7 to 8% per year. Well, some of the ETFs I'm in are like 7 to 8% per month.
Yeah.
So.
And like, so this is a very interesting pivot point here in this conversation, because like I'm looking at your form here, and one, you got like 800 questions, and you got multiple avatars and multiple segments.
This is what's going on in my head.
Yeah, like, so I'm just from hearing this though, I can pretty much give you an idea of where to go here,
because we have done this
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, I have friends that are doing what you're doing in memberships. The cool thing is like every that area of online business is really weird, because everybody's got their own little way that they invest, and there's always a quirk or something to it, and it's so personality driven. Even though a lot of people try to teach the stock market in online business, it's really personality driven. It's really quirk driven. It's like, it's who you relate to. It has nothing to do with this is the guy who has the most or this, the whatever. It's like, can you do it? And can you teach me how to do it? You know what? I like you, Jason. The way you say it's different than the way this guy says it, you know? And it's a really kind of an easier nut to crack in the online business world if you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah. And I see the approaches that, let's say my competitors are doing. There's people that are doing day trading, people that are doing swing trading. I don't really have any interest in that because I'm older. I have a small child like you guys do. Like, I don't have time to be in there watching it, because then it becomes like a job. It's not passive investing then. Then it's like an active job where you're watching it minute by minute, and
that's what I'm saying. It's like real estate. It's almost like the real estate space, because like we've got one guy in the community, and he's teaching people how to buy and flip mobile homes cheaply into rental properties. We got another person who's doing real estate, and they're trying to buy single family homes. Another person's trying to do apartments, and like there's so many different little areas, and then there's so much personality in it. It's weird though, because like I don't see a lot of competitiveness. I mean, the people that I know that do that, they're really collaborative because they all do it so differently, and it's all personality driven around the brand. You can build a following, right? You know what I'm saying?
And you could do a lot of affiliate partnerships. Like if somebody comes to me and they don't want to sit on something for a month, then I can say, well, here's your swing trading guy. Here's your day trading guy. You go to them and you pass. And if you don't like them, then you come back to me. Like eventually, like I got to this point over 20 years. So I dabbled with the shorter term trading, and this just fits my personality better. So
basically I want to cut through. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm just going to tell you what to do. Okay.
Well, when we see someone who has so many questions swimming around in their head, sometimes it's easiest just to say, okay,
this is your next step.
This is what will probably work based on the thousands of times we've done this. You know.
So let me talk to you a little bit about avatar first, okay, and segmenting. All right. Like, I think what you don't want to be doing is like, and I'm looking at all these different things you're talking about here. Like, you don't want to be convincing people to invest in the stock market. You want to be talking to people. Like, I love what you said there about moving the mutual fund into the market. Like, right. Like that would be really appealing to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Who are sick of dealing with a guy paying for that's probably where your avatar starts, right? It's the person who's already thinking about going in. I set up an E-Trade account like 2 months ago, and I've not really done nothing with it. But I was like, I'm going to play around with this. You know what I mean?
So it's people who want to do more than mutual funds, but they don't want to, bet it all on black.
Exactly. Right. You know what I mean? They want it, they're maybe like a little more conservative, and they value the data-driven approach, but also the story of, I got a kid and I'm not willing to do this. And I'm like, that's the story behind the brand. And that does two things for you. One, it lets you be you. It just lets you be you. You don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to do anything different. You just have to tell your story. Because I'll be honest with you, nobody gives a crap about your spreadsheets. They don't. They're not going to. If you start talking about spreadsheets and your marketing, no one's going to care.
Okay, there will be a few people.
A few people. Jocelyn will care, but most people. most people want the story. That's what they want. They want the why you do it the way you do it. Now, when they get in the membership and they're giving you money, they're going to care about your spreadsheets. That's when they care about spreadsheets, right?
Yeah, like they don't need to know how to do the spreadsheets. They just need your information from them.
Yeah, like people don't care about online business and memberships really necessarily until they get into our program. What they really care about is, man, these were school teachers with little kids who had no time and no money, and somehow they were able to become and stay self-employed for a decade. I'm in. Like, that's what people really care about outside world. And by choosing the avatar, Jason, of, if you'll just forget about anyone else that could ever invest, like choosing that person eliminates a lot of problems for you. You don't have to convince people to do the stock market. You don't have to convince people to do a certain kind of trading. You know exactly that they're already ready to do it. And all you have to do is convince them to choose you. And that's if you can get your business down to that, like, that's all me and Jocelyn care about is, do you choose me and Jocelyn over somebody else? We don't care if you choose our method or what we're doing.
They don't need to know about our master's degrees and this and that.
Nuts
Nobody
and bolts.
cares.
Nobody cares. They say,
can you solve my problem,
yes,
or can you not?
Choose us. That's it. So if you start there and forget all these other different things, like you got 6 paragraphs here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it'll make you easier because you'll have a starting point and you'll know, well, if Shane came to me and Shane was working with, an investment company who does it for him at what are they, Edward Jones and all those places.
Yeah,
but
well, I just came from one, and the guy wanted to charge me $12,000 a year, and his fee was 1.6%, but I could have done it with a 0.2%.
Exactly.
Product.
So if you pick a guy like me, you think it's a guy who's got a good business, doesn't really understand the market, but would love to invest a little bit, is sick of paying these fees,
but doesn't have the time to dig around and find all this information
every
because,
single day.
we don't know what to do.
Like, I'm not an options day trader here. You know what I'm saying?
Options is the other thing. I can't even get my head around that. I'm not touching it.
Exactly. So, like, you're the alternative to that now. You're the conservative is a bad word, but it's more like you're the more stable, predictable. Like, I'm not looking for the thrill. I'm not looking for the, Jocelyn and I love to say this. The one reason why our slogan is, we help you get 100 people to pay you $50 a month to make $60,000 a year. And if you do that with 200 people, you're a 6-figure business. Like, that to our people is more important than the get rich quick, jump on the Lamborghini and take your picture for Instagram.
Yep.
That's why you don't see us, with our, we don't have any nice sports cars. But
yeah, I don't got the Spider in the garage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got my pickup truck with a rusted hole in it.
And that's the way I found you, actually, was your Facebook ad that's when you were wearing the T-shirt about 50 times 100. And around
Jocelyn, I told you that was a great T-shirt. Jocelyn looked at that T-shirt and she was like, what are you doing? I'm like,
but it definitely
genius.
worked, because $60,000, like, say if it was American dollars, that's good living here in Canada, where the cost of living is really low. Like,
exactly. And what's funny is I actually, I'm in a Facebook group with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and there's like 100,000 entrepreneurs in there. And like, someone said some comment about something like that, and like they were talking about what was successful, and I just commented, I was like, I'll tell you what's successful. Freaking go get 200 people to pay you $50 a month and make 120 grand. Low energy, you get time with your family, you get to serve people, and cast your stone and let it ripple out and help others. And dude, I got hammered because this was all bro marketer, internet guru, Lamborghini riding, renting Airbnbs for their video people, right? Like, and I got smashed and I got hammered for it, man. I'm like, no, y'all don't get it. Like, you don't get like contentment and happiness and real people and what they want. And that's what you want. So that's why we do that.
That's what drew me to you guys, because everybody's talking 6-figure this, 6-figure that. And look, when you said 60,000, I'm here sitting in a house that I paid for years ago. So I don't need excessive amount of money.
Exactly.
I'm not driving a Lamborghini. I'm driving a car I paid in cash, actually.
Amen, brother.
Second car I bought.
Amen, man.
And that's not to say that we're against people making millions of dollars. We're not against that. We want you to do
I want
that.
to make millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong. But you got to start with a living. You got to make a living.
And you got to be relatable, and that's how you're relatable.
So I guess my next question is, like, I asked you about the pricing question on another call, but like, should I just help more people at $50 a month or people at 100? Like,
yeah, the price really doesn't matter in the beginning. Okay, I will tell you what I know about this market from members in our community and friends that I talk to all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I do think this is an easy sell at 100. It's really, because this is an investment, right? Like these, right. I mean, like you said, there's these people in this avatar that we just created. I mean, they're used to paying 12 grand just to have someone invest it. I mean, why would they not pay $100 a month to join your club or whatever? Right. I think I would. What did you call your club?
Oh, I didn't actually have a name. I had a name for called Velocity Investing.
No,
Because-
that's boring. You
Yeah.
know what you need to call this? The Tremere Club. That word, your last name sounds.
People can't.
Oh, they'll know. They'll know. It's the Tremere Club.
You know
what
what's
I'm saying?
funny about that? If you Google Tremere, it's a vampire clan on the internet. That's what I found out.
Well,
when I
that's
was-
great. We can beat them in SEO. That's a vampire clan. They don't know anything. They're not even awake in the day. So
Yeah,
we can
so
beat
it's-
them. We can beat them in the SEO game.
Yeah,
So-
so it's some kind of role-playing game yeah, it's a role-playing game, and there's a clan called Tremere, so I don't know if I can go with that one. But.
So,
Yeah,
all
well-
right, so we've refined our avatar to people vampires moving from mutual funds into the stock market.
That might be a little too narrow.
Yeah.
Might be a little
Okay,
too narrow,
so
right?
Jason, this honestly is one of my favorite types of businesses. And the reason why is because all you have to do is convince people that their investment is going to make them more money back.
Yeah.
If you can convince them of that, and the way that you do that is through your own experience and also through testimonials of people that you've helped. If you can convince them of that, your job is easy.
Yeah, and you
Right.
can even say things like, you can say things like that, like, "Hey, if all this did was make you $200 a month extra, in your portfolio every month,
Would it be worth X dollars?
and all that did was go into the future, and you show all the percentages of how their income could be bigger if they invest right?"
Well, I was
Like-
thinking of actually showing my portfolio, like building a U.S. portfolio and building a Canadian portfolio, and actually
Great
showing it.
strategy. It's a
Yeah.
great strategy because that's the same reason that a lot of podcasters will show their income statements.
Right. It's like
At
I
the
got
end of
skin
the
in the game.
You got skin in the game, and and even if you have a bad month, it's a discussion point. It proves you're real. Like one of our friends the other day, I'm in a mastermind with a couple of guys, and he was creating a new product, and like it's a company value, but I understand why they say this, but it's like we go for 100% success rate, right? And I was kind of like, for me, this is a bias, so I don't know if this would account for everybody, but to me, when I see someone that guarantees me 100% success rate, I'm not buying it. Like I'll believe a 96% success. Like you're not doing nothing perfect, right? Like that ain't gonna happen, right?
But
So
I was thinking about having a guarantee where if I can't beat, say, the S&P 500 in a given month, then I'll give you your money back.
Well, I would just
like,
have. I would
can't
just
do it
have
every
it down.
single month,
I
but-
would just say if you don't make money on your trades,
or make at least 100 or whatever.
right,
Within
if you don't
so
make at
many
least $100
days.
within
Yeah.
so many days, I'll give you your money back. I mean,
Yep,
it's easy,
I can-
and then just do it.
Yeah,
you
I'd
know,
be
give them their
comfortable
money
with
back.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean they would have to prove it, obviously, but
Right. They'd
just
have to prove that
whatever-
they.
Yeah, you would have to have some kind of solid terms and conditions and say, okay, this is what you have to
But
do.
in general, 5% of people would even ask for that. Let
Exactly.
alone, and 5% of those are probably actually trying to get it back.
Right.
So it's even people who you don't make money with, they're not gonna do that.
So
And
I guess
go ahead.
I guess the other thing is, like, because I don't have the audience yet, I don't know if they want to hear from me on a daily basis, weekly basis. Like,
Here's a real easy format for anybody that's starting out. Okay, you've probably heard me say on the show consistent, prolific, and relentless. Okay, so consistency means publish a really good piece of content at least once a week. You have to have some kind of. I think you'd be a really good podcast. I think just hearing you talk and you're comfortable.
well,
like
it's funny you should
could be a
say that. My
podcaster.
brother's in radio, so
There you go. Right.
There
So
you
you got
go.
you'd be fine with podcasting. You can make some show notes. Be really easy. Make one really good piece of content. Now, then you prolifically promote that piece of content every single day. So like, you're sharing, like if you go to our Facebook page on Monday, we post a hype video that tells people what the podcast on Tuesday is going to be about. And then on Tuesday, the podcast comes out. And then on Wednesday, we remind everybody. And then on Thursday, we send an email. And then on Friday, we post everywhere else on social. Then Saturday, we publish it on YouTube. We're constantly promoting that one really good piece of content. And then go ahead.
So for you, Jason, I think that piece of content, usually your lead magnet is going to be the thing that is going to get people to want the next step in your process. So what you might consider is, if you have an account with Edward Jones or another trading company, how do I establish a baseline so that I know that I'm beating it? So that might be like a free opt-in.
Oh
Just
yeah,
an
for
example.
sure. Like how to fire your investor, or basically would be like a great lead magnet. Like how to fire your investment and move into the market, and I'll instantly make you 2% return. Watch, or how to instantly, that'd be awesome. How to instantly make 2% more money on your returns every single year, and then you just teach a little course about that says, oh, if you leave that guy and do it yourself, you'd be fine, and then you follow me, and I'll help you make some money. Right?
Then if you do it that way, like their next step, okay, they know what they're doing right now. their next step is,
That.
well, let's start your process, which is a paid offering.
Yeah. And then the last part of CPR is relentless. Like that's getting like the lead magnet, getting the emails, and relentlessly following up with offers like promotions and getting them to buy the thing.
Now we talked about podcasting, but the other thing I like to do is video. Like I have a YouTube account.
Well, I'll tell you right now, everyone that I know that does this is on YouTube. Like I have two really good friends. One is Jason Brown from the Brown Report, and one is Kurt Duplessis from Option Alpha. Both really successful in this space, and they rock YouTube, rock YouTube.
So that's what I was thinking of, either streaming to live to YouTube, because I got to get a lot of this stuff in my head. So I was thinking about using StreamYard or something where I could just stream like an over the shoulder. Here's what I'm looking for, and
sure.
then
and what you do is you take that video on YouTube,
right,
and you just think about it. You just think about it when you're making it. Make sure you're not calling out too many visuals. Make sure you're descriptive. Right. But then you strip the audio and you release it as a podcast. Then you embed it, both of those, into your blog, and you write a little show notes. And now you spend 1 hour recording a video or whatever, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, and you've created a podcast. You've created a YouTube channel. You just let that flow into other platforms. Is all you're doing there.
Right. That's what I was thinking of doing, and doing it on video first, getting the audio out, and then using the transcription to make it into a blog post.
Yeah, I love it. I think the one thing that you have to be a little bit careful of, just because we have a similar type of analytical mind, is that you have to be careful that you're not talking over people's heads. Because
this is a weird thing too, because you actually don't want to teach anyone anything on your YouTube channel. You just want to show them what you're doing. Right.
That was my other thing, is how much I give away, because if I give away my top 3 picks, then they don't need to hear from me again for a while.
Right. Exactly. Like I usually what we say is teach people what to do, not how to do it. That's the best way to divide your free content with your paid content. You want to show people what to do. And we've had people that even we're a little more, here's different, because we are coaching you literally right now. So everyone that's listening to this is literally getting the answers to their questions. Right.
Yeah.
But theirs may be different because of their nuance and things like that. But other people that we know that do that, they'll go in and they'll tell people what to do, and they'll structure it out. And some people will read between the lines and figure it out with your free content. And that's great. You want them to succeed, right? But you've also hard-earned 20 years of experience and God-given talents. So you need to go in and get some paid for that, So usually it's like, hey, you've got to do X, Y, and Z. Like I might say, hey, if you want to start a great membership site, you need an awesome content area that has a blueprint, like a path. You need a great community area where you're going to be able to have your people engage with each other. And you also need to be showing up for your people, and you need to be doing Q&As, and you need to be the leader. I mean, if you're going to have a membership, the difference between a subscription and a membership is a great leader. Right. So if you want a great membership with people who will pay you month after month and year after year, those are the 3 components. Now, I just told you everything you need to start a membership site, right? But I didn't tell you how to do it. I didn't say, okay, well, now here's how you structure your course area, and this is how you flow. And I didn't tell you how to manage a community of 1,000 people, and you don't know how to talk to everybody. I didn't tell you how to set up Q&As and do all those things. That's inside the program.
And so I think you could even set it up as, okay, stock A, or, whatever it is. This is what I chose this week. And don't actually give out the names of them, but tell about it and say, hey, if you want to know what these are, like, come into my community.
I found this great stock. It's in the oil industry, and it's this, that, and the other, and it's beautiful, but you don't tell them the actual thing. And I'm revealing it on today's member call at 12 o'clock. You better join. That's kind of what you do. Or you break things down. Like another great way to do it is to go opposite. Like if I was going to sell a playbook, my playbook that I ran was called the 3-5-3 defense. So I had 3 linemen, 5 linebackers, and 3 defensive backs. So what I would do is I would go and I would talk about other defenses and why they sucked. So like I would talk about like, oh, here's the 4-3 defense. Here's why you cannot run this in high school. It's because this guy's too big and you don't have this guy, and this guy sucks, and boom. And then I'd show a video on that touchdown. See, this is terrible. But on the 3-5-3 defense, we have a way to stop this. And if you come by my playbook, I'll show you how to do it. Right. So like you can talk about how the options market collapsed today, and this was terrible, and this is why I only do it this way, and come inside and I'll show you how. Right. There's all kinds of angles that you can take.
But I guess part of my question is, at what point do you segregate your membership? So like in the beginning, primarily I buy ETFs, but I could also do individual stocks, but that's 2 different mentalities, because ETFs,
right. Well, I was just throwing something out there. So, whatever it is that you do.
You do one thing until it's done. and then you
okay,
do the
because
next
that's what I was
thing.
wondering, if I develop those two things
No.
separately or
A,
together. Because
A, B, C. If you work on A, B, and C at the same time, you're going to fail.
Yeah, it'll take
It'll
much
take
longer.
you for be the ETF, be the what is it called? EFT,
ETF,
electronic
exchange traded
ETF.
fund.
Yeah, right. Be that guy.
Okay,
When you
there's less
become
competition as well.
just be that guy, right? Yeah, just be that guy and talk about the general stock market and why that is your preferred method, and just be that guy and be known for one thing. And until you have every single person on earth that is that, like, for example, people always ask us, like, well, why don't you go into other social studies courses? I mean, you could teach world history, world civilization. There's courses on European history, psychology, so civic. You know why? Because every U.S. history teacher on the planet Earth is not a member of my membership yet. And I don't want to make any more lesson plans until every U.S. history teacher on the planet Earth is a member of. Now, once I run out of history teachers, I'll teach other things to other people, right? But until you got, when you get to 10,000 people that want to do that, you could probably go to something else. It'd be pretty
And
easy.
it's a strategy, like, yourself, and that if you start down a path and you get distracted, you're probably never going to finish the first thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And here's the real one. The most interesting question in here is, because you're in Canada and you trade mostly in America, right? And then you're like, there's different rules for Canadians and Americans and all these things and what they're doing, right? This is another area where I would pick one. You're either going to teach people who are in America how to invest, or you teach Canadians how to invest in the American market, which could be a nice little niche down, especially in the beginning, and you just focus on that, and you become the guy in Canada. I mean, there's how many people in Canada? 30 million, something like that? I mean,
it's a lot less. See, that's the thing. Like, I've done it successfully on both sides. So there's a bigger market in the US, but more competition.
Right.
You only need 200 people to pay you $100 a month to make $20,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if there 200 Canadians who would love to be like you and invest in the American market correctly.
And we're just saying you could start there. Like, that doesn't mean that you end there.
Yeah. It's never about, you have to start somewhere, right?
I do have to start somewhere. It's just that I'm doing the analysis for both markets anyways. So it's really a matter of how much time I spend talking to each market, I guess.
Well, but that would have kind of like me be saying, I'm kind of doing subscriptions and memberships for everybody. So I'll just target Netflix or Joe, the guy that wants to start one in his basement. No, we target 30 to 50-year-old parents who are married and they look and feel and want and dream like we do, right? Like, you have to pick. You can't just say the analysis shows that I can dominate everyone on the planet. Like it's like, it'd be like Elon Musk. If Elon Musk was like, I could build a rocket ship, but I'm going to build 15 and we're going to try to go to Mercury, Venus, Mars. He picked Mars. He picked one planet and he's trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what you got to do, man. It doesn't matter which one he could have picked somewhere else if he wanted to build a rocket ship to the Mars, but he didn't. You know what I mean? So you just got to pick something.
I know that's the tough doc I need, because I can't focus on one. Like I like, it's almost like a coin flip. I know there's a bigger market on one side, and to me the analysis.
But a bigger market is not always better.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're trying to target everyone, you target no one.
That's exactly right. I tried to target all football coaches when we first started, and nobody even bought anything from me. But when I niched down to a niche defense, and I said, I am the 3-5-3 guy. And to this day, I took that down. We took that site down in like 2000. I didn't remember what, 17 maybe, because we were selling things and we wanted as much focus to go here as possible. And I still to this day get people reaching out going, are you the Shane Sams that taught the 3-5-3 defense? Like, I still get that. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like it's like, you got to become the guy in something. And to me, I think you could find 200 Canadians to pay you $100 a month and go with a little bit of an angle. Like, hey, are you sick of getting feed to death? And I
don't want to shut Jocelyn out of my membership. She was interested in everything.
Well, that's fine. Well, here's the deal, though. I'll tell you one thing, though. When people ask us questions like, "Hey, do you know anything about e-commerce, or do you know anything about courses?" We're like, "Yeah, we know a lot about that, but we don't teach that. And if you want taught that, I could teach you that, but I'm not going to."
And just because you target a certain market doesn't necessarily mean that's the only people who are going to be a part of what you're doing.
And unless you went totally geographic. But like, would you rather be the king of Canada or
Well,
the guy picking up the scraps in the U.S.
No,
You know
but
what I
it's
mean?
funny though, because 2/3 of my portfolio is it's in the US and global. Like say one of the ones I just sold was the NASDAQ 100. I bought the Canadian version of it, but I could have told Jocelyn, hey, the NASDAQ 100 is beating the S&P 500 because it's got Starbucks,
Well,
it's got Costco.
I think we're confused. You're still telling people that. I'm not
Right.
saying, I'm not
So the
talking about
message is,
it's not the investment advice, dude. It's the person. It's the person and where they live.
It's just the person you're talking to.
Like,
right
are you
now.
talking? Yeah. Who are you talking to? It's not what you're teaching them. You're going to teach them exactly what you do every day. I don't want you to change 1 minute of what you like. If you, whatever you just said, which I have no clue what it meant, that's what you're going to teach them. Right. But what I'm saying is we're talking about the avatar. We determined that it was a business owner in maybe a mutual fund who's really wants to go on his own, but is a little scared and wants some help. Now, where does that person live? Do they live in Canada or the United States? Because that's what's going to determine the flavor of your information. And I just, if you start in one place or the other, just stay there is what I'm saying.
oh, okay.
So it's not about the advice, dude. The advice means nothing. I think
and there are going to be people who find you who want information about other stuff,
exactly.
And that's totally fine.
And then an American person might see you and say, wow, I want to learn how this guy invests. But what I'm saying is it's the flavor. Like when me and Jocelyn do our can't miss moments section of this podcast, we're talking directly to other people who are parents and want more time with their kids. And we're showing them the result of our labor, right? Like we're talking to that person. A 20-year-old with no kids thinks the can't miss moments section sucks. But he may have listened to this and this part. He may have got a lot out of that. You know what I'm saying? So like people are going to come. It's just who are you talking to? You've got to decide that.
So all we're saying is, when you spell color, spell it with the U.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Canada.
Well,
Canada.
and that literally is the difference. Even though the avatars are in two different countries, it's really just a twist on the wording on a lot of things.
Are there 100 Canadians that would really love to learn from you?
I would think so, but I'm in free Facebook groups where everybody expects everything for free, right? They'll say, tell me your 3 ETFs.
We sell to school teachers, Jason.
I know.
They're the cheapest human beings on the planet, man. You know what I mean? Like we still sell $50 a month memberships.
Okay, true enough.
And you don't care about those people. You care about the 5% of those that actually want to make it. That's the only, listen, 1% of the market will ever buy from you at first. I mean,
it's just like free apps. Okay. So like most of the time when you have a free app, people don't buy the paid version. You just watch the ads or whatever, but it drives me insane. I cannot stand it. So I will buy the paid version so I don't have to see ads. Will most people do that?
No.
95%
of people will never pay for an app. They'll just use the free ad version.
Will some people? Yes. Those are the people you're looking for.
So what you've got to decide is who is the group of people I'm talking to? And it has to be so clear. Like Shane and Jocelyn are the people we talk to. Now, we have people all the time come in from other age groups and areas who just like our vibe for some other reason. Like we get people sometimes we'll get people from the South that like us because we say y'all. And they may not be married and they may not have kids and they may not, be dealing with those kind of things, but they like what we have to say. They like the way we say it.
And that's totally fine.
That's totally fine. And they join and they succeed and they move on and that's cool.
We don't put up a wall on our website that says only parents allowed.
Only people between 30 and 50.
But right? When we spend money on marketing, we spend it on that demographic because that is primarily who is a part of our membership.
And I know people in the community, the reason I actually am saying that, remember, everything we say, guys, is because we have coached thousands of people in their memberships. I know a person who is a Canadian who teaches, she has people from both sides, but she focuses her marketing in Canada. And she has built an amazing business of over 1,000 members doing that. And it differentiates you, right? You don't even have to compete with those people. So like I said, you pick I don't care which side of the border you pick that you want to target. Okay. But I do think you better pick one. If you're trying to be everything to everybody, this is not going to work. You're not going to be able to make yourself unique enough to a group of people where they choose you over somebody else. Right. And there's another thing too, you're going to struggle with. And Jocelyn struggles with this. There comes a point in every membership site and online business, the data doesn't mean anything until you do it. All data is a guess until you prove it, that it's right? Like I can think 79% this is going to be a run to the right toward the tight end until I call the play and I see if it worked. I don't know for sure, right? You're in the ballpark, man. You've made your best guess. It's time to pick. It's just time to do it. And
Absolutely.
then let the data, as you do it, guide you and let it bend and curve and go down the road.
We have several training modules about this inside the community. So just go through those, based on what we talked about today, and keeping all those things in mind. Just go through those, print out the workbook and work through it, and, make an educated guess on what you think is going to be best.
All right. No, that's very helpful. Thanks.
All right, Jason, it has been great talking to you today and kind of trying to get you on a path. I know that is really hard for some people, and I can't wait to see what is going to happen next in your business. So tell us, what is one thing that you plan to take action on in the next 24 hours or so based on what we talked about today?
Well, based on what we talked about, I really seem to have refined down my avatar to Canadian market based on your past members who have succeeded in focusing their niche on one market. And I do feel more comfortable talking to people in my country just because of the tax laws and the currency exchange and all that sort of thing. So now that I have that focus narrowed down and the avatar as far as other families and people transitioning out of mutual funds, I think I do have a clear path on what I should offer and what price I should offer it at. And I already have a website and a YouTube channel. So basically I should just really put an offer up and start getting some data to see. And I know how to run Facebook ads and all that sort of thing too.
But narrowing it down though,
narrowing it down.
You go watch the avatar training one more time and take the workbook and really print it out. Okay. And then create a content plan and start rolling this out. Okay. What do those people need? But really write it down on a piece of paper, give it a name, right? You know what I'm saying? Give him a little Mountie hat because he's in Canada, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And, but make sure you got it and commit to it, and then start building the brand around that and let it grow. It's a seed, man. You're just planting a seed, right?
And we'll be looking for your success story, eh?
There, I like it. Awesome. Wow, what an amazing conversation with Jason. And I just know if he will take action on what we talked about today and take that next step and get something out in the world, he's got all the pieces together to create a great membership. And really, guys, that's what it's all about. It's making the decision to start, build, and grow a membership site of your own. We would love to help you do that inside of the Flip Your Life community. All you have to do to get a 30-day free trial inside of the Flip Your Life community is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. You will get access to every training course. Nothing is dripped. Nothing is held back. You get access to everything. You'll get access to our full community and, of course, our member calls and award-winning amazing support. So go to flippedlifestyle.com/free, and we would love to help you just like we helped Jason on today's show. All right, guys, got a couple more things to do before we go. One of them is our can't miss moments section. These are moments or things that Jocelyn and I have experienced since we quit our jobs that we would not have been able to experience if we had stuck to that old 9-to-5 and we were not online entrepreneurs. And this week's can't miss moment is actually kind of a weird one. It's like one thing that gets on our nerves a lot is our kids do always want to hang out with us like really late at night, and they try to talk us into spending the night, sleeping in the bed, and they're all crowded in, and Jocelyn's getting kicked and everybody's getting kicked. And, and our kids are like almost to the age where they hopefully will stop doing that. But the other night I was really, really thankful. Anna Jo was really being sweet, and she hugged me and said, "You're the best dad ever."
Manipulator.
And she might have been manipulating me a little bit. And then we laid down and she cuddled up against me. And I just know that, those days are almost gone when she will not want to be in my presence anymore. She's 9 years old right now. And we slept in the morning, and, she was laying there and we were all just like hugging, and it was so sweet and cute. And I'm just really thankful that we don't have to go anywhere in the mornings. Like if we choose to stay up later, we can. If we want the kids to sleep in with us, we can. And, I know for sure we could not have done that if we were school teachers, because we'd have been getting up at 5 a.m. and we had to be somewhere. And so that was my can't miss moment for this week, is just, being able to choose the extra time with our kids at night and in the mornings. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for this week. But before we go, we like to close all of our shows with a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, so we thought we'd share a cool verse for you guys today. We have today's verse is from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 7. The Bible says, think over what I say, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything. Just like Jason was confused today. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know which way to go. He had 100 different questions. You just got to turn that over sometimes, guys, and take that leap of faith, and everything is going to be fine. That understanding is waiting for you if you will move forward. That's all the time we have for this week, guys. Until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes. Flip your life. We'll see you then.